For those of you who aren't aware, my name is Kayleen Harrington, and I recently joined the Norfolk Chamber of Commerce as their event manager. So as I said, thank you so much for joining us this morning. So you can find our full offering of events, including our recovery programme, on our website. I'll put a link in the chat function, so feel free to view these after the webinar and book on any. They're completely free to attend. So I'm really excited about today's session. Everyone has a colour. You might have heard of DISC, Briggs and Insights before. But do you know how to use this information to your advantage? Identify traits in people, allow you to adapt your communication style, which in turn will help with all of the above. In this 60-minute webinar, Steve Gaskin, Director of Huxley Events, will show you how to quickly identify personality colours in people, how you can use this to build trust, how you can improve relationships, and how you can gain more sales. You're welcome to ask him questions during the presentation. There'll also be a live Q&A afterwards. So please use the Q&A function when you have a question. Just to let you know, before I hand over to Steve, we will be sharing a copy of the presentation along with a recording as well. So Steve, over to you.
Thanks very much, Kayleen. It's really, really good to be talking to you this morning. I'm in Wyndham. I'm in my studio, and it's a crisp morning. What I want to say today is I want you to be nice and relaxed. This is a bit of fun. Obviously, it has huge business connotations, but what I'd like to do is to introduce my checkered background. I had the privilege of being a senior detective in the Metropolitan Police Service. For 30 years, I got to the rank of DCI. And whilst I was in the police service, I got a scholarship. I went to uni and I did forensic psychology and mathematics. So when I retired from the Met, I decided I needed a challenge. So I did a postgrad teaching certificate and I retrained as a mathematics teacher. So it's great to see people from College of West Anglia. And from that, when I finished, I got very, very much involved in leadership and management training, and I do a couple of things. I'm the technical advisor to BBC Silent Witness, and I also do some work for a program called In the Line of Duty. I think some of you may have seen that on the box. And I'm also a fellow of the Institute of Leadership and Management. So what? The important thing is that as a DCI, I found myself in the Met, I found myself the leader for 140 men and women. And my thesis has always been getting the best out of them. And so that has been a feature of everything I do, and that is today. And can I just tell you, we've all gone through some really, really difficult times. Here's the good news. I'm a member of a couple of forums, some quite influential ones, one with Goldman Sachs and a couple of others. All the smart thinking shows, and there's a milestone today, that I will ask you this question. Whether you're a charity or you're a college or whether you're a business, is how are you going to deal with the tidal wave of business that's going to come your way? That is the way to think about it. And we had that milestone today of someone being vaccinated. One of the things that interested me as a police officer was personality, for obvious reasons, particularly at a murder level, looking at who we're looking for. And I've translated that to looking at personality and business. So here we go. I'm using PowerPoint. It's definitely not death by PowerPoint, but what I want to do is to give you guys the edge. What is it that you can do to make your conversions better? How are you converting? This sounds really boring, but looking at an innovative way. And what I'm going to do is I trained someone that works for, I won't say who it is, but she works for a big wine company in Norwich, which gives you a few options. But she's used this system and I spoke to her last week and she is smashing her targets using this. So here we go. Great to see you. Big warm welcome. And hopefully we can see the screen. Can I just ask Kayleen a thumbs up if you can see that? Good. So that's it. That's enough about me. This is now all about you You can look at your family and also, lastly, clients. So this is what we're going to do. I'm hoping teachers will enjoy this. Aims and objectives, how boring. Colours, the one that I'm going to talk about, came from Carl Jung, a psychologist, saying that we all are attracted to different colours. It originally came from Hippocrates, but he went a bit further and it's been developed over the years. So this is what we're going to look about, the appreciate the difference between your colour grouping and identify your own personality type, and then how to identify other people's colours. That is so important. And then how you can use this for developing relationships. And I've got a blueprint for you. This course, sometimes you can come away with a whole stack of course materials. This is one page. And can I tell you that I still, when I walk into businesses, I walked into a big electrical outlet that I do business with, and they still have these, their salespeople up on the wall. So, and also what I am going to do, I've got to work out how to do this. I've forgotten that we do use psychometric testing, and I'm going to give away how many. I don't want to be too generous here. We've got 30 of you, so I'm going to give away 5 psychometric tests. They're personal to you to look at how you can evaluate your own personality. And I think what I'll do, Kayleen, I'm going to ask a question towards the back end of this presentation. Don't let me forget. And the first 5 people on the chat box, I will need your emails, so I can then send you the stuff. So here we go. Let's look at behavior first of all. So there's a lot of terms that I'm using. Some people use training terms and you think, what on earth are they talking about? So let's just deconstruct this. A good baking term. Behavior can be defined as actions plus your voice, content, pitch, volume and tone, together with your facial mask, how you use that, and your body language. I communicate with body language. 65% of everything you communicate comes through your body. On the basis of these elements, you make assessments and people make judgments of you. But can I tell you this? Behavior is a choice. It is your choice. And certainly managerially, I have had to alter my behavior over the years, from going to, as a police leader, being quite autocratic at crisis times, to being very collegiate with people in my business that are much better than me. And that's what I've tried to do, is to recruit people that are better than me. This is at the heart. Let's just see if I can remove this meetings controls here. This is at the heart of what we're looking at. And this is quite an easy way to remember it. But as Kayleen said, please do use as much as you like this presentation. So you're going to get it identically. So just think of the 4 main colours and what they mean. When you think of red, you think of fire, blood, heat, hot. So straight away, who can you think of that's got a personality like that? So you can link the colours quite quickly. So thinking of blue, you could be thinking of cold water, sky, icebergs, and then you can start substituting different words for those. Calculating, calm, unemotional, thinking, logical, and safety. That's my accountants, and that's how I want them to be. Most accountants tend to be blue. Then you go to green. People's behavior are changing. So more and more green, you know, when you look at cars, recycling and everything are stopping trashing the planet, people's behavior is changing. So if you do this test that I'm going to give away, you do it in a year's time and it may have changed. But what's important is knowing yours and then other people's. So green, friendly, growing relationships, strong, ideals of fairness and justice, you know, and that is represented by these excellent charities we've got, particularly Break. Lastly, you've all met them, these people that illuminate your business. They illuminate your lives. Sunshine people, positive, smile, warm and happy, characteristics of yellow behavior. So that is really the basis or the bedrock of this particular talk. Now, this is my work, and if you've done psychometric testing before, and we're going to talk about that later, is you can be told what you are, but what are you like on a bad day? And the reason being is that on a bad day, you can then alter your behavior accordingly. So these are just some of the words that we've put in there on a good day. So you can just have a quick look at that. Let's just take one of these. Let's just take competitive, demanding, determined, strong-willed and purposeful. Can I tell you that when I was a police leader, I was predominantly and only a red personality. But of course, I then had to start getting involved in business, and you have to make a paradigm shift. So I then became maroon, and that's the beauty of the psychometric that we use. It doesn't, you can't just say I'm red, you might be, but it will take into consideration all your characteristics. Now, look at the problem with that in a business then. You know, those of you that are in business, just imagine you've got a Steve or a CEO like this, aggressive, controlling, driving, overbearing, intolerant. You know, that's not the sort of person you want to be working for. So those are the dangers. And what's good about this is just, if you are a red personality, is just make sure on a bad day when you've tipped over, how do you control that? I've said, please take a picture of this now. You can do, but you're going to get that later. So good day, bad day. So what I want you to do is to start associating some of these terms with yourselves. So I'm going to drop this in now. This is just a bit of fun, and I'm going to get Kayleen to read these out. This is called, can I tell you that this particular gig that I'm doing now, we do live, and the last people I did this with before the lockdown was with the Scottish government. It was a delight, and we do these live. So what I'm going to do is just with the, we'll go back to this now. If you did want to take a picture, that might actually help in case you need to refer to it for this very quick, fun exercise. So I'll just give you a couple of seconds. I'll have a slurp of my coffee. So that's giving you a bit of time. And then if we go to this, so what I've got is, this just shows that I'm a modern presenter. I've got Stormzy on the bottom there. I've got Donald Trump, Mother Teresa of Calcutta, who is my absolute hero. Some of you guys know I do a lot of mission, pro bono mission abroad, and this woman is my hero. Nelson Mandela, Steve Jobs and Stormzy. So what I'd like you to do is just on that scant bit of information I've given you there, on a good day, just try and put these people into colour or colours where you think they fit. So this is just like the warm up, just to get you guys thinking and to stop me rambling on. So if you just
pop them in the chat function and I'll read them out for Steve. You don't have to do all 5. If you're struggling, feel free to do them as and when you allocate them. So we've got Nigel has come through saying red for Donald Trump.
Spot on.
And again, you don't have to send your suggestions just to panelists. You can send it to panelists and attendees, or you can just send it to us. We really don't mind. So Lucy has said green for Nelson Mandela.
Right.
We've got red for Donald again from Gary. So Pete has said Stormzy yellow ?
Okay.
Just then we've got Elizabeth says Mother Teresa blue/green.
Brilliant.
Someone else, Lucia said Mother Teresa yellow.
Brilliant.
Nigel has said red for Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
David has said yellow for Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Done that one. Blue for Steve Jobs, yellow for Stormzy.
Brilliant. Well, thanks very much for getting it. That's awesome. And thanks very much for participating in that. Would you like to know the personality, the color personality of every single person you've got on LinkedIn? So if you're doing business with them, if you LinkedIn, you can, I'm going to show you that later on. There's a website and you get a small bit of code, you put that onto your LinkedIn and you will know the personality of every person. So if you're doing business and these guys are a lead or a prospect, it helps. So let's go through these. Donald Trump, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I make no political comment at all. But you can see there, he's definitely red. And on a bad day, he's banging the desk. You know. Mother Teresa is a mixture of all of them. If you look, she was very forceful, a loving woman, you know, wants to do so. Sometimes they fit there and that will come up as charcoal. Yeah. You've then got Nelson Mandela, of course, the two things, you know, trying to get South Africa on the footing that he did, but also a very strong and forceful personality. Steve Jobs, blue, you know, creating artistic, all of these beautiful products that he did before his sad, untimely death. And then Stormzy is a mixture of both of those, and you know, his passion for young people. So whether you've got it right or wrong, it doesn't matter, because it's like over time, you can, if you decide to use this, you'll get better all the time. Just some facts as well. Yellow, red and yellow tend to be extrovert. When I entered the Metropolitan Police Training School, I was definitely an introvert. My behavior changed. I learned to become an extrovert. Why? Because at a traffic accident, you don't want someone saying, well, you know, there's nothing wrong with introversion at all. But that's what I was trained to do. And unsurprisingly, that's where my colours lie. Blue and green tend to be introvert. Nothing wrong with that. Look at Sir Richard Branson as an example, an absolute introvert, but also a business leader. Some other facts, red and blue tend to be thinking. Once I got this into my head, my leadership was much, much better. Yellow and green tend to be feeling. So I'm the red and blue there, the thinking is, come on, let's do this, 100 miles an hour. And missing off the yellow and green is you've missed out the fact that your employees want to go home. They want to have a bit of lunch. So you haven't got that feeling element. And when I understood that on a senior management team at the yard, I was so much better because I was blowing away. Well, Steve, you want to keep these guys on duty for 20 hours? Oh, yeah, yeah. So a couple of things here. This is something that if you want to take this further forward, this is something to do. But this is something, most of you know, my dear partner and wife, Kate Gaskin, is the driving force behind everything I do. And she came up with this, which is brilliant. And I'll just give you some examples. So if you want to start digging in, so we're moving away from ourselves now. If you want to start looking at the personalities of others, and can I tell you, this will help you in your personal lives. She came up with this idea called Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. So you've got this grid and you've got Ms., Mr., Mrs., whatever these colors coming for dinner. So by working out what car, clothing, what they eat, what they talk about and what their job is, you're starting to get a better handle on their nature. So let me just tell you, I dealt with, yeah, it's finished. You know, your smart meters, they wanted me to do some training a number of years ago, and their HR director at the time was an absolute blue personality. So I met her for the first time and I took into cognizance all of this. And from what she said, I knew straight away. She had a Prius. Her clothing there was very, very, very suit-like. I saw what she actually talked about. HR, passionate, very slow, very calculated, and she was an HR director. This here always makes me laugh, and this is not a magic trick. But if I said to you, you've got a dinner, and what car will they turn up in? Over the years since I've been doing this, most people come up with exactly the same. They say they will come up with a Ferrari or a red Ferrari or something like that. So if you were thinking of that, and I've got that right. What job there? A lot of people will say leaders, managers, CEOs. It just so happens, going off script here, that 10% of all CEOs in this country are psychopaths, which is actually positive. So yeah, and then green, what car? Well, some people say they turn up on a bicycle. Yeah. What clothing? What do they eat? So that is a little exercise for you to do. It usually takes about half an hour. So hopefully a bit of extra value for you guys. This is something I want you to now look at. And what I want you to do is to look into my eyes. Okay. No trick here. It just so happens that you've got to feel really sorry for me. In January, I'm having my cataracts done in my eyes. I can just about see you guys. Unfortunately, because the NHS is blitzed at the moment, I couldn't have it done on the NHS. So my personality is between red and blue. I went along to a fantastic place, and what they did is they gave me a shed load of stuff, yeah, for someone that is a red personality. So let's look at a hypothetical person. They're very low on red, they're very low on green, they're very low on blue, and they're very high on red. You've got to be really impressed with this graphic, because I'm not a graphic artist. If they were a prospect, what sort of information would you send this person? So just think that through hypothetically, or just drop it into the chat box. So we're now moving on to prospects or clients. You've got a red personality. What sort of information would you send them?
So Elizabeth has said top line. Nigel has said a few key bullets.
Brilliant. Okay, you've got it. You've got it in one. Now, this company that I went to, don't get me wrong, apart from being £4,000 more expensive than another company, sent me through this shed load of information. I thought it was to do with COVID. I just didn't look at it at all. Whereas the one I went for bullet pointed it, and you're absolutely right, for a red personality, is you would send them headline. I love that expression, bullet points, absolutely superb. You will get to know, you will have this metaphorical thing in front of you here. When you're talking to someone, you can start making assessments. This is whether it's business, whether it is education, or whether it's a charity, particularly if you're pitching someone to come on as a sponsor, to bring them alongside and on the same page as you. This is a bit of added value there. How would you like to know the client's colors before you speak to them? And this is on LinkedIn. I've been using this for years, and it is this. And this has seriously won us clients, and we've retained them. The website is crystalnose.com. Kayleen, if you could drop that into the chat box, that would be great. But of course, you'll get this. It's really good. And what it does do is it breaks the colors down. And how it works is you put certain things on your LinkedIn. And as a result of that, what this crystal nose will do is to crystallize that information and give a color or colors. It's really cool. It's really good. So let's move on now. You're going to the other end of the scale here. Someone that's low on yellow and green, someone that's low on red. And then you're getting this person here that's very high on blue. What sort of information would you send this person? And what is the effect of getting it wrong? So 2 questions there. Do feel free to engage however you like, either mentally or put it into the chat box. That'd be great.
So Stuart has come through saying facts and figures.
Brilliant.
George has said detail. Nigel has said need lots of details.
Yeah.
Stuart, don't hard sell. Ross, data sheet.
Fantastic. Don't hard sell. That is one of the last things that I'm coming to. So going back to our case study, of the HR director, what I did is I actually did it stage by stage and very, very much shut up and listened to her. Let's just take one of, this is happens to be a young woman, 21 years of age, working for a wine company. After she's finished with a client, she will say that client was very green or very yellow. And she then stores that information and is then in a position to be able to make greater sales because of that. Absolutely brilliant. And when you have a conversation with that, she said, yeah, my dad is whatever. And if you practice this, it's like any skill, you'll get really accurate on that. Okay, great. So this is where I think this also looks at personality types of salespeople. Isn't that an interesting subject, the psychology of sales? And I've enjoyed doing that. And what's good is taking it from the standpoint of the personality of, say, someone responsible for serial killing to then looking at it as a someone in business. The two things you're looking for with a salesperson for skills are two things: is how good are they at delivering to a client, and how much do they know about the product, the content. So if you're employing someone, you're looking at someone down here as a rookie. If you then got someone that's high on content but not good on delivery, you're then getting techie. This is the danger, and some of you have mentioned it earlier on. Their content is not particularly good, but their delivery, and they will then be seen as hard sell. Let's get this right and out of the way. We like being sold to. Oh, I don't want to be sold to. Yes, you do. It's just how you receive that information. So what we're looking for is that expert, and to really get more sales in and convert. I'm only interested in the bottom line here. I'm saying loads of things. I'm only interested in your bottom line in terms of profit, bringing more students onto the college, communicating better, or being able to, from a charity, being able to bring someone on site. So that's where you're aiming for. And this is the problem with salespeople. Oh, sorry, this is my big giveaway. You've got to be really impressed with that. There's so much text on there that I'm not going to go through that. But this is the sort of thing that you can have as you're going through personality and behavior, and bearing in mind it can change. So if you record this for a lead now, next year that may have changed, not completely, but if you change roles, and look how we are changing roles hugely. So, you know, we talked about this here, and some of you made some comments, is what you would send: bulleted list, highlight their essential wants and needs, and then just looking at this bottom bit on blue, a very detailed breakdown offering even more information. And that's what you guys have said. And then the do's about how to professionally greet people. Do you know some of the things I love? You can see well, you probably can't notice, but I'm a certain age. Do you know what I love? When people call me bruv or hi and all this stuff, it doesn't resonate with me at all. So it's looking at the best way to communicate. If someone had said to me 18 months ago, can you hop onto a Zoom call? What would we have said? So these are reasons why your people can't close. This is a guru. Some of it comes from Brian Tracy, an absolute gentleman. But what I've shown you today should help, is not asking the right questions. That simple. With the colors, you can beef that up. Not actively listening. Do you know Kate has got, when she does training, she says that person hears but they don't listen. They hear but they don't listen. What a great expression. They're not perceived, your sales staff are not perceived as trustworthy. So it's building that relationship, and if you're mirroring their color behavior, they're going to see you as themselves. They're going to see you as themselves. Don't know how properly to close. I've seen people as well, and some people say, ask for the business. I've sold in 5 years £1 million worth of product, and I'm a terrible salesman. And at the end of the day, I've been successful through selling by asking for the business. That's quite a profound statement. Lack of product or service knowledge. As I've moved on, I moved away from sales and become more into my role, which I enjoy, leadership and management. That is where I don't know too much about my products. Salespeople are not driven. You've got to be driven for that. You've got to be a certain mindset, and that's why targets are good. And they don't know how to use silence to their advantage. So this is a really good book by Brian Tracy, but I thought all of those statements there, we could take each one and look at the colors. This again is so important. If you can't measure it in your business, if you're doing something and you can't measure it, you shouldn't be doing it. If you're spending something on marketing, how are you measuring that marketing? You're sending out emails. How are you measuring those emails? How many are getting through? How many people are clicking off? How many inquiries have you got? Whatever you call them. What is your conversion rate? How are you converting? A number of times we've looked at that. We've spent quite a lot of money on marketing. We've looked at how we're converting and we're not converting. Dig into it. Why is that? We paused the marketing, had a look, it increased our conversion rate. Can I tell you, I would expect in terms of business for you to at least increase your conversion rate by 5%. That is what has been reported to me, up to 15% by using personality. So how will this training or any training affect your relationships and bottom line? And who is actually selling in your business? And the Pareto principle applies there. I love this. 80% of sales are done by 20% of your salespeople. That is a fact. Have a look at that. You need to try and alter that if that's the case. 80% of all sales are done by 20% of your workforce. Have a look at that and see how you can change that Pareto principle. There's books, hundreds of books written on that 80-20 rule. And that is it from me, which gives plenty of time for talking about some things. There's something I want to talk to you after we've taken some questions, but thank you so much for listening. Thanks, Kayleen, for arranging this event. And really, I'm going to say this again, is look after yourselves. This COVID's not going to, we're talking, this is a historic date today, but do look after yourselves and those that you love and get ready for this turn in tide. Do you know, I support a number of charities and we've been mercifully, we were able to carry on. But charities, be ready for that. Colleges, be ready. People that are, are in an uncertain time, be ready for that. And businesses, how will you strategically prepare for a tidal wave of business that will hit your business? Because incrementally it will do. So if you need any clarity at all, I'm going to take some questions, and then what I am going to do is to just I'll tell you what we'll do. Kayleen, shall we run a little competition now?
Yes.
Let's run a little competition. I did have it in my head. So yeah, I will give away 5 psychometric tests, which enables you to run through a number of questions. It takes 10 minutes, and then it will give you a detailed report on your color or your colors in a normal state, and also in a normal state, and then on a bad day. So the good news with us is we'll show you on a bad day as well as a good day, so that you can then check your behavior. Or if you've got a client, a red client on a bad day that's banging the table, you know that's a red personality, and you can then deal with them accordingly. So I think what I am going to do is I'm going to ask this question. Yeah, I spoke about the particular psychologist that invented this system of colours. What was that psychologist's last name?
Nigel's straight in there.
Yeah.
So we've got, we're being inundated. Okay, we've got our top 5. So we've got, well, hang on, you reveal the answer first.
Oh, I forgot. No, it's Carl Jung.
So,
any variation on the spelling, this isn't a spelling test. It's J-U-N-G.
So we've got Nigel's a winner, Gary's a winner, Ross is a winner, Stuart is a winner, and Sarah is a winner. So I'll make a note. And I'll just check. Nigel, Gary, Ross, Stuart, Sarah, I can't see if you've given us email permission, but if you haven't, can you just give me email permission so I can pass your email address over to Steve? That would be great.
Good. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop sharing. Let's just see here. Come on. I want to stop sharing this.
I've done it for you.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. So, yeah. So, thanks for listening. Really, it's over to any questions. Yeah, over to any questions.
Perfect. So it's just to remind people, if you've got any questions, pop them in the Q&A or feel free to pop them in the chat function. If you'd like to verbally ask your question, again, virtually raise your hand and I can give you permission. That's not a problem. So I've got a question to kick us off because I know it can take a while for people to type. Steve, what is the value of psychometric questioning?
Okay. Psychometric testing, when I was in the police service, I didn't know what it was. And it was only when I started getting to a senior rank that I went to an assessment centre, and my managerial skills were tested, my numeracy skills, my literacy skills, my decision-making skills. Psychometric testing is very, very useful. It's something that was over there. I didn't know about that. Things like DISC, Insights, the one that we use is called Spectrum. And the reason we use that is because we had a hand in designing it specifically for business. So what it will do, psychometric testing, will give you the opportunity to learn more about the hardest study in the world, and that is the study of yourself. It will make you more sensitive. It will make you more aware. It will make you better at work. It will certainly make you a better leader. And I suppose if I was to look at one thing that I'm passionate about, really passionate about, is making teams, and I'm going to talk about this briefly at the end, making teams the best that they possibly can be with an excellent leader. So that will always help you, because it will tell you psycho, what you're thinking, metric, measure. It will tell you at a moment in time what your thought process is, and it can be applied to a lot of things. More and more it's being used. Some people will even use it for recruiting, which is, you have to be a bit careful with that. So I would say the value is invaluable, and it's something you definitely need to look at, particularly if you're a leader.
Thank you. So we've got a question from Ross. How do you assess / cope with extroverts who are only extrovert to overcome the introversion?
You're very, very good. That goes back to if you've got a member of staff, and we know loads of people like that. You get people that burst into a room that are actually introverts. That needs to be dealt with by coaching or feedback, and you have to be very, very careful with that. It goes back to what I said at the beginning, is that behavior is a choice. How can you overcome that? That's how you could overcome that, with very, very good and sensitive coaching as a leader or by peers. Is, some very, very sensitive question. I noticed that when you come into a room, you're really extrovert, this obviously there's something. What is it that I can help you with? Let's get that out on the table. Of course, sometimes that could be even a deeper rooted problem, and that would need a psychoanalyst to be able to get that out on the table. I do sound like a baker here and a cook, and then deconstruct that to see how that person can then be more effective. But wasn't it Nelson Mandela who said that our deepest fear is that we're not good enough, when in fact we are? You know, we are. We all have this worry, don't we? I don't, you know, if I don't have some butterflies when I do this particular gig, I shouldn't be doing it, because my adrenaline has then gone up, ready to deliver. So, very, very good question. That can be, that behaviour can be altered by coaching.
Thank you. So just a reminder, if anyone's got any other questions, feel free to pop it in the chat or the Q&A function. So Martin has said, hi Steve, how do you tame a red person on a bad day, especially when they aren't listening? Do you have any personal experience you could share?
Yeah, I have my own personal experience, which I will share. Yeah, very, very much so. And I'll go back to the police service. You can imagine that on an inquiry, particularly a murder inquiry or a serial case, where you know as the leader you're having sleepless nights because you can't afford a third one. So there is Steve Gaskin, DCI, running a murder case or another serious case, and you know that there could be another one. So you then start getting stressed and you start moving into banging a tape. You know, I didn't get that bad, but bang the, come on guys, you know, and then you feel your voice being raised, don't you? How do you tame that? Has to be, even if it's your boss. And that's what I think that a lot of teams are not good at doing. That is the gap that I see, is not dealing head on with some problems that are allowed to fester. That needs to be done by attacking not the personality of that person. Why is it that this is the wrong way? Why is it that you came into that meeting screaming and shouting? That is attacking that person. You need a much more subtle approach. Is I noticed that when you came into that meeting, and this is subtly different, that your behaviour was not like we normally see it is. How do you perceive that your behaviour was met during that meeting, or how do you perceive that behaviour affected that particular member of staff? Another example, very, very quickly, because this is a really important and good question. We came up with this new product, which was brilliant, and the management team said, blah, 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 let's do that. And we said to our marketing manager, get that out overnight. This is brilliant. What we didn't realize properly was that woman was a blue color, very blue. And that caused her some anxiety overnight, to the point that we should have recognized that and dealt with that our own behavior beforehand by saying, Blue, right, this is what we want to get out. Give me some ideas of how we might do that. Let's discuss it. We can go back again, right? Get that out as quick as possible. So it is really confronting that, and it is looking at how you're going to do that. It could be your boss. One of my nieces is in catering, high up on that, and her boss is continually shouting at her. That's old behaviour. So you have to confront that, but you need to be careful. You do not attack the person, but you attack the behaviours, because the behaviours are a choice. They can be altered, modified, and changed.
Perfect, thank you. And we've got a question from Nigel that says, can you elaborate on what you mean by asking for the business/closing properly?
Yeah, brilliant, lovely idea. A lovely question is that sometimes, and you know, it depends how you do this, is if you listen to, you monitor, I'm not saying listening into your staff, but you were using that for training. people will skirt around the issue of actually, let's just say, Nigel, that you and I are talking and I'm going to sell you a leadership and management course. I'm going to say, okay, I've worked out, we've got the price arranged and everything. And I'm then going to say to you, when would you like to book that? People won't do that. They won't actually ask for that business. Okay, and then you might come back with an objection, right? It's too expensive. So what is it that I can remove from the delivery? You've told me what element, what is it that I can remove so we can be in the same place in terms of price? That is actually asking for the business. And let me give you this example as well, is that it's heavily linked to follow-up. You know, I can't believe some people spend a fortune on pay-per-click, they won't follow up, and it's linked intrinsically to that. It's a shame, you know, my cataract thing is a good example. I was given a whole wedge, I was given the price and everything to have my cataracts done, whole shed load of stuff which was inappropriate, and not once did someone say, when would you like to buy? Because actually at the time I was feeling so stressed because the NHS, for obvious reasons, weren't able to do it, but not once did they say, right, can we put a date in the diary for you to come in and have it done? Because had they done that, I probably would have paid the 12 grand instead of the £8,000 that I've got to spend now. So it is actually making sure, not skirting round, not being a hard salesperson, because you're the expert. Your salespeople are the experts. They are showing the products that you really, really believe in. But sometimes there is that void between actually converting and asking for the business.
Thank you. We've got a question from Elizabeth that says, most people are a mixture of colours dependent on circumstances. For example, confidence within a certain sphere. Isn't the strength of colours really in one's ability to adapt and react quickly?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I'm loving that. And that is, that's reinforcing the heart of what, yeah, is your adaptability. But until you know your own colours, you will not know other people's. And then if you use that kind of mixing board thing, you can then get to know other people's. And then depending what business you're in is how quickly you have to react to that. Kayleen and I were having a discussion earlier on. We are in the events industry, and you have to react pretty damn quick. So this colours helps even more. If you're in car sales, that is, you know, again, you've got to be, particularly with car sales. Well, not, you know, I hope there's no one from a car company, but again, that is a different skill there, is working out very, very quickly what that person's colour is. Maybe even to the colour of the car they want. But you're absolutely right. The skill is knowing these colours yourself inside out and then applying it to other people so you can react and make a decision quickly. Yeah, great question.
Thank you. That's all the questions we've received. If anyone's got any more, feel free to pop them in the questions. Yeah. So Nigel says, do you think particular businesses attract certain colours?
What a great question. What a great question. What I would say is, yes, they might do, but what you've got to do is to balance, depending on how your business is framed and structured. Do you want all red personalities or do you want all blue personalities? The answer is perhaps you do, but you've got to be very, very careful with that, because if you are dependent on teamwork, you need a balance of different colors. Otherwise, if you've got blue, you're never going to get a decision made long term. There'll be pontification. If it's all red, you're then going to get loads of headstrong people locking horns and nothing will happen. But yeah, some industries may attract different people, but the The skill then is within leadership and management is to try and modify, and it is, you can't change personality, behavior, you know, our personalities are our personalities. Behavior, however, you can change. Yeah, accountants tend to be blue. That's good in some ways, but it's not dynamic for a red personality. So I want a accountant that is dynamic and does a load of different things rather than my meetings and my annual return. I'll be interested to see what the nursing profession attracted, what the main colour was. I suspect it's probably yellow.
Thank you. Nigel also said, following that question, or even require particular approaches to selling.
Yeah, very, very good. I would say that you need a balance. You need a balance. What you do need is, if you've got the very, very red personality, that person then needs to know where they need to use that. If they've got a prospect or a customer that's a red personality, the match is superb. Just imagine that. They're both competitive. They're both red personalities. So, right, that's absolutely brilliant. I understand exactly what you want. Let me send you some bullet points. And I've found that over time, a lot of our leads that are red will convert a lot quicker. Just get on with it, Steve. Yeah, book it. It's done. It's done. So then you can maybe start fishing for red prospects if that's what you want to do.
Thank you. I think that's all the questions now, but as I said, we've got 4 minutes, so feel free to pop more in. Oh, I love it. And if by magic, Steve, is the colour of your jumper significant? In other words, do people tend to wear the colour they are, ...
I don't know. I don't know. My favourite colour is pink. I've got a pink shirt on. I've got this blue on. The reason why I'm wearing this blue is no other reason than I'm sitting behind a green screen. And if I wear any other colours, I look as though I'm about to take off or fade into the ether or something. That's a really good question. I can't. Pink is my favourite colour. Maybe I'm just holding off from wearing red. That would be exciting. I don't think I've ever had a red shirt, actually. No, no. But yeah, that's an interesting one. So next time you're at a business, you're having a business meeting or a team meeting, have a look round and see what. Yeah, you could even do a doctorate in that. Yeah, great question. Can I just say on that point, thanks so much for interacting. I think we're near Christmas and I didn't want to blare on too much. But there is just, I don't know whether it's appropriate, there is just, and unsurprisingly, there's just, what I would say is that this is a snapshot of the training that we do around conversion for sales. So that is a product that we have. Our flagship product uses psychometric testing and it's called HPT, High Performing Team. How do you know your team or teams are performing well against the company culture, the company objectives? How do you know that? We can run and I can give you anyone a free copy, a single copy of how that runs. So basically what you do is yourself and your team go through the algorithm of high performing team, and it will tell you, it will take 20 different statements. So things like leadership, communication, feedback to the leader, and it will measure all of those, and it's done confidentially. So if we were to do it at the chamber, there would be 10 of us, you all input to that, and then I give you a report back to the leader, an anonymous one. It is extremely powerful. It's even more powerful because high performing teams in the new year, and I think around March, are going to have to really fire on all 4 cylinders, either to adapt even more, or flex even more, or be in a position to really fire on all cylinders. And that is my personal and company passion. HPT, high performing teams, once we know the strengths and the areas for development, we can then have some sessions which we feed back to you, and we give you a directory of personalities. So that is just something to consider maybe for the new year. But what I am going to do is I'm going to give you 5 behavioural personality profiles to the people that have won that. But for anyone that wants to sample the high performing team, and that will give you what you enter into that, I will give every single person that's on this call a free copy of that, so you can decide the value of that for your team. So we can either do that virtually, it works very well virtually, or we can do it face to face if conditions improve. But I'd just like to say publicly a big thanks to the Metropolitan Police Service. I would not be in this position, and you know, thanks to the people that I've worked with in business, because leadership in 2 different ways has been a fantastic journey, and I like to try and impart that information to other people. And finally, another big thanks to the Chamber. The Chamber helped me out. The biggest event we've ever done virtually was a couple of weeks ago, and these guys kindly allowed me to use their premises, which made things a lot easier delivering to 300 people. Guys, look after yourself, look after those that you love, and be ready for a very, very positive end of this year and 2021. And thanks for listening.
Perfect. Thanks, Steve. Thanks everyone for joining us. I know there was a question that we didn't get to Elizabeth, but I'll make a note of it and send it to Steve to answer, and then I'll come back to you. So yeah, conscious we're 1 minute past. So yeah, thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day, week, and I'll shortly be emailing you all with the details that we've spoken about. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye.